Hey guys, how are you all? I'm pretty sure it must be so amazing. So today we will be starting excretory product and their elimination. Most of the videos we will be doing in one shot और मतलब like जल्दी fast revision हम करने वाले हैं. Before exam we will be covering all topics very nicely, right? So very soon I'll be telling you the most important topic जिनसे past 10 years में सबसे ज़्यादा questions पूछे हुए हैं, तो वो topic मैं share करूँगी. I'll be sharing it on the Telegram itself. So in the description box of the video I have given the link of the Telegram channel, so join it. So we will be sharing many things there and some questions also that is important for the exams. Excretory products and their elimination, we will be doing this chapter as many students demand for it, and I'll be taking all the things in English as many students have demand for it, right? For this, right? So let me introduce myself. I'm Rajni Mamgai and I have done a master's graduation from Delhi University, mentored thousands of the students who got selected in various medical colleges. I worked with various renowned organizations. Today we will be doing this chapter, right? So chaliye fir, let's start it now. So when we see excretion, excretory product excretion, so what do you understand by excretion, by the way? So excretion means it's simple that eliminating excretion means simple eliminating out the process of eliminating out the metabolic waste. And what is the metabolic waste? So you know metabolic waste can be CO2, which is a byproduct of any chemical reaction. It can be sweat, it can be wax. So these are also metabolic waste, but most of the metabolic waste that we are going to do nitrogenous waste. Main of the metabolic waste that we are going to see metabolic nitrogenous waste, right? So nitrogenous waste will be released in our case by the kidney, we know it very well, and we are having certain other organs also for the excretion, like we are having lungs. So lungs से क्या excrete out करेंगे? तो obviously we will be excreting out CO2 from the lungs. कितना? 200 ml per minute. This much CO2 will be eliminated by our lungs every minute, right? So when we talk about liver, so bile pigments are basically waste which will be excreted out with help of urine. When we talk about skin, so skin have two glands. क्या क्या नाम है उनके? Skin have this sweat gland which will be secreting sweat, excreting sweat, and another one is the sebaceous gland, that is the wax gland, na? Sebaceous gland. So बच्चों, when we talk about sweat gland, can I ask you one thing, that sweat gland का काम क्या होता है? तो sweat gland means obviously releasing sweat, excreting sweat. So it will be excreting sweat. And what is the composition of sweat? So when we see the composition, water, it is having less amount of urea also, less amount of amino acid, less amount of glucose also, NaCl. This is the composition of the sweat that you have to remember. And when we talk about sebaceous gland or wax gland, तो इसका काम क्या होता है? We know wax gland eliminate, excrete out sebaceous or waxy substance sebum, right? So it will be excrete out hydrocarbons, sterols, waxes through sebum. Sebum is the oily part or waxy part of the skin, protective covering of the skin, right? So sebum, you can say it's the oily protective layer, waxy protective layer of your skin, plus it will be excreting out all these things, right? So sebum is nothing but the waxy, oily protective layer of your skin, as simple as that. Protective layer of the skin. So these are other excretory waste, not intestine obviously. So these are other excretory organs that you have to remember. Now we will be seeing type of nitrogenous waste excrete by different organism. So we will be seeing those types. So there are three types of organism mainly. One is known as a monotelic. Another one is known as ureotelic. And third type of organism are known as uricotelic. So when we talk about these three organisms, what they will be excreting, we know they excrete ammonia, they excrete urea, they excrete uric acid, right? When we see the toxicity of organism, so obviously it is highly toxic. And remember, it will be excrete out mainly mainly it will diffuse out through the general body surface or gill surface in form of ammonia ion, right? So it is highly toxic and it will diffuse out. So it doesn't require kidney actually. It will be diffused out through general body surface. General body surface means through the plasma membrane, through the cell surface, right? Through the body surface, gill surface, in form of ammonia ion. So it will be excreting out in form of ammonia ion, that you have to remember, right? So this is ammonia. It is moderately toxic, not highly toxic, but less than the ammonia. So that's why in our body ammonia convert into urea, because it is moderately toxic, right? And this is the least toxic. This is the least toxic that you have to remember. When we see about ammoniotelic, when we see about the ureotelic, and when we see about the uricotelic, you have to remember that water loss. So what is the amount of water loss in all the condition? It requires high amount of water, large amount of water. So large amount of water is lost and urine is highly diluted. And obviously large amount of water is lost by the aquatic on, they can only afford the like excreting out large amount of water जो organism water में रह रहे हैं, right? Means aquatic animals. Ureotelic will be excreting out, losing moderately amount. So that means urea require moderate amount of water to excrete. Moderate amount of water, right? So water require moderately or moderate amount of water. Moderate amount. And when we talk about uricotelic, it requires least amount of water. So that means it is basically helping conserving water in the body. So this is good for them. They are conserving water in the body, that you have to remember, right? So when we talk about water loss, yes. So what is the example of ammoniotelic? You know, when we talk about the ammoniotelic, so what is the example here? So we are having the example like bony fish. They are ammoniotelic. And most of the organic or aquatic organism release out ammonia, like example aquatic amphibians. All the aquatic, most of the aquatic organism excrete ammonia, right? Because they only can afford to lose huge amount of water, not normal terrestrial organism. Aquatic amphibians, like their larva. Other example is aquatic insects. So these can afford to lose huge amount of water with ammonia, right? And most of the aquatic invertebrates also have the ammonia as a chief excretory waste. Ureotelic example like us, mammals are the ureotelic. Apart from that, land amphibians are ureotelic. Land amphibians, even marine fishes, cartilaginous fishes, marine fishes are basically this ureotelic, that you have to remember. And land amphibians, right? Uricotelic birds is the example here. Even this, reptiles are the example here. And then we are having the other example, land insects. So those insects which are living on the land, they will be releasing uric acid as a excretory waste, right? So these are three organisms that you have to remember. Ammonotelism means process of releasing out ammonia. Ureotelic means process of releasing out urea as excretory waste. Uricotelic means uric acid as excretory waste. And because they conserve water, so that's why their like excretory waste is like a paste. So I'm pretty sure all of you have experienced someday in your life that this birds pee on your head, and it will be in the thick paste form, having less water. That means they conserve water, because obviously I have told you uricotelic is least toxic, require water insoluble, so it requires less amount or least amount of water to release out, right? So when we talk about ammonia, it's highly soluble, and it is highly soluble, hence excrete out through the general body surface, through the gill surface, right? Ureotelic, so it's simple, it's moderately toxic. Sorry, if we see the solubility, water solubility, so it is moderately soluble. And when we talk about uricotelic, it is least soluble or insoluble, you can say. So it is insoluble or having least solubility in the water, that you have to remember, right? So now we will be seeing different organisms have different excretory organs. So what are those excretory organs in different organisms that we will be seeing? So yes, this is we use different filters for the various purposes, है ना? So same way, various animals have different excretory organs in their body. So one example is the Protonephridia. Protonephridia present in the flatworm, in the planaria, right? Flatworm like Platyhelminthes. So Protonephridia also known as flame cell. This is something which you have to remember, flame cell. This is something you have to remember, right? Even Cephalochordata, Amphioxus, some lower kind of Annelida also have the Protonephridia. Rotifers also have the small amount of this, Protonephridia. When we talk about Nephridia, Annelida group have the Nephridia. When we talk about Malpighian tubule, insect have the Malpighian tubule for excretion, Arthropoda group ke. Antennal gland, green gland present in the crustacea like prawns, crab group of Arthropoda have the antennal gland, green gland for excretion as per our NCERT. Then obviously when we talk about Porifera, when we talk about this Cnidaria group, when we talk about this, other group, Ctenophora, so they don't have any excretory organ, they just excrete out through general body surface, diffuse out the excretory waste ammonia from their general body surface, as simple as that. Most of the Aschelminthes, if we talk about Aschelminthes, they are having the rennet cell, or we called it H-shaped cell, right? So this is something which you have to remember. They use it to excrete out nitrogenous waste. When we talk about scorpion, scorpion group, that is the scorpion group, or you can say this is the group of the, it is from the like Arthropoda group. Arachnida class hoti hai inki, Arachnida class of scorpion spiders. So they are having the coxal gland for the excretion, right? Even this, Limulus of Arthropoda group, hai na? King crab also have the coxal gland for excretion. When we talk about mollusca have organ of Buchanus, mainly organ of Buchanus, which is also known as invertebrate kidney for excretion. Some mollusca have the Caber's gland also. So some of them have the Caber's gland also, but especially organ of Buchanus is present in them. So this is something which you have to remember. Even aquatic mollusca, so you must know it. Aquatic mollusca have this Ctenidia like gills also, right? So they are having the Ctenidia like gills. Okay, Ctenidia leaf like gills, sorry. So Ctenidia, these are the leaf like gills present in them for the excretion that you have to remember. When we talk about Echinodermata, I'm pretty sure you have done it in the animal kingdom. They are having tube feet for excretion, right? They are having tube feet for excretion that you have to remember. What else they are having? Tube feet for excretion. They are having dermal papillae. Dermal papillae means present in their body surface, right? Present on their body surface. So that is present in the Echinodermata. Hemichordata, क्या होता है इनके पास? Hemichordata have proboscis gland, right? Proboscis gland, and it is also known as glomerulus gland, that you have to remember. Urochordata, I'm pretty sure you have heard about this term, having the neural gland for the excretion. When we talk about Cephalochordata, so simple. Cephalochordata have solenocyte or Protonephridia, that you have to remember. Protonephridia, that we have done also, right? When we talk about Cyclostomata, they are having pronephric kidney, which is the loop, which is less developed kidney. They don't have any loop of Henle and all, right? So mesonephric kidney is present in them. Basically, mesonephric kidney present in them. Sorry, pronephric kidney present in them. Pronephric kidney present in them. And some of them have mesonephric also. So mesonephric is moderately developed kidney. So these are different type of kidney. Pronephric is less developed. Mesonephric is, like moderately developed. Even fishes, amphibians also have the moderately developed kidney, right? So इनका भी moderately developed kidney होता है, that is mesonephric. So they also have the mesonephric kidney. But we are having the most developed kidney, and that is known as metanephric kidney. You have to remember, right? So we are having mammals, reptiles, birds, all of them having the highly advanced kidney, right? Reptiles, birds, they all are having the metanephric kidney for excretion and osmoregulation. So excretion means to remove out the nitrogenous waste mainly from the kidney, and osmoregulation means it will also help in the water salt balance in the body in order to maintain this osmolarity, right? So osmoregulation means water salt balance in the body maintained by the kidney in our case, right? So bacha, now we will be seeing our human excretory system. So you have to remember that when we talk about human excretory system, we are having the pair of kidneys, we are having pair ureters, we are having one urinary bladder, one urethra, and obviously it will take urine out. This is the excretory system of the human that we will be doing in very detailed way. So yes, I will be telling you all the things, but before that, just see this diagram very nicely. Each kidney, just above the kidney, we are having the adrenal gland, which obviously we know adrenal gland in the hormone chapter we will be seeing. So adrenal gland secretes some hormones that we will be using in the kidney part also, in the excretion part also. And you know what, aorta will be taking heart from the blood, oxygenated blood from the heart, and taking it to the kidney. So renal artery have oxygen with urea, right? With urea for the filtration. This urea is the nitrogenous waste which will be filtered out by the kidney. So renal artery is the branch of aorta that will be carrying oxygenated blood with urea, because that urea need to be removed. Now question I'm asking to you, that maximum amount of urea कहाँ present होता है? Maximum amount of urea, where does it present? So bacha, remember, it will be present in maximum in the hepatic vein, and I'm pretty sure you have done it in the digestion, that hepatic vein में क्यों होता है maximum amount of urea? Because in our body, ammonia is the highly toxic, cannot be stored in the body. So ammonia will be converted into urea in our liver. So urea formation liver में होगा. Urea formation happen in liver, occurs in liver, and hence hepatic vein will be having the maximum amount of the urea in it, right? And then obviously it will, this blood will go to the heart. We know that blood will be from the hepatic vein, it will go to the vena cava. Vena cava take the blood to the heart, then heart will be oxygenating blood and sending it to the aorta. So one branch of aorta taking the urea in the kidney, and obviously renal artery taking the blood with the urea in the kidney. और सबसे कम फिर filtration होगा blood का, filtration of the blood will happen, urea will be removed, and obviously then renal vein always carry deoxygenated blood with the least urea in it. तो यूरिया सारा छनकर चला गया. अब now deoxygenated blood will go to the heart. Heart will oxygenate it, means it will send it to the lungs. Lungs will oxygenate it. Again, it will be supplied to all body part. And this balance of the urea will be happened in the blood, will be done by the kidney in the blood, right? So that you have to remember, that obviously renal vein से वो blood जाएगा, renal blood take the blood from the, take oxygenated deoxygenated blood with the least urea. ठीक है, तो ये चीज आपको याद रखना है, to the vena cava, and vena cava take it to the heart. So we know what will happen next in the heart, right? So finally, when the urine will be formed, it will release out in the ureter, and it will be filled in the urinary bladder, and urethra take the urine out. That is how it works. Now we will be doing all part in detail. So let's start with the kidney now, right? So जो important है that तो we will be covering, right? So when we talk about kidney, so let me just show you the transverse section of the kidney in detail way now, right? So when you see the transverse section of the kidney, तो बच्चा you can see this diagram. We are having the two portion of the kidney. Outer portion is known as cortex region and inner portion is known as medulla region. So kidney have the two portion, outer cortex, inner portion, medulla, which is present in the pyramid shape, as we can see in the diagram, medullary pyramid, right? And obviously this kidney have the protective covering also. So when we see the structure of the kidney, so they are having the protective structure also. The outermost covering structure of the kidney is known as renal fascia. Renal fascia is made up of connective tissue, right? So it is made up of fibrous, irregular connective tissue, right? CT is the connective tissue. Then we are having the adipose. Just below this, the second protective layer of the kidney, outer kidney, is known as adipose tissue. So second layer is the adipose tissue, which will act as shock absorber. Act as shock absorber. This is something which you have to remember. Renal fascia, adipose tissue. And then we are having the layer just below it, that is third layer, innermost layer, that is known as renal capsule. So renal capsule also made up of connective tissue, right? So it is also made up of, few elastic fiber, having the fibrous, white fibrous connective tissue, CT is connective tissue, right? Few muscle fibers. So this is the composition of the innermost layer, renal capsule. So these are the protective covering of the kidney that you have to remember. It is reddish brown in color, bean shaped structure. And where does it present? It is present in the last thoracic and lumbar vertebra. तो बच्चा ये आपको याद रखना है. This is important, right? So last thoracic and third lumbar vertebrae के बीच में. So last thoracic means this backbone. Last thoracic vertebrae to third lumbar vertebrae, here the kidney is present, right? So when we see the kidney, it is present at the, I have told you where does it present. It's bean shaped, like reddish color structure. And if we see the kidney ka arrangement, it is the retroperitoneal arrangement. It is having the retroperitoneal arrangement. What is it? So when we see our body, जब हम अपनी body देखेंगे, so this is the ventral wall. ये ventral front wall है हमारी body का. This is the dorsal wall of the body. And this is the kidney actually, right? So bacha, kidney actually present on the dorsal side of the body, and obviously peritoneum is the covering of the organ. It's like a blanket. तो जितने भी internal organ है, all the internal organs are covered by the, suppose here all the internal organ present, it is covered by the peritoneum covering. So peritoneum is basically the blanket-like structure. It's a covering of the body organ. It's a blanket of body organ. Retro means it is present outside this peritoneum layer. Outside peritoneum layer. It is present outside peritoneum layer. That means peritoneum ने इसको अपने अंदर नहीं रखा हुआ है. It is present just above the blanket. तो जैसे suppose you are just sleeping in beneath the blanket. Blanket को ऐसे ओढ़ा हुआ है और कोई ऐसे ऊपर से आकर कोई चीज रख के चला गया. So the same way it is out of blanket, and this arrangement is known as retroperitoneal arrangement. You have to remember, right? So bacha, now we will be seeing the different part of this kidney. So I have told you renal outer cortex and inner medulla region is there. And you know what? This renal cortex region extend in the medullary region also. So cortex का कुछ part बीच में medulla तक extend है, which is known as renal column or also known as column of Bertini. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Column of Bertini, that you have to remember. And what is this part? So obviously I have told you this is the part which, this is the cortex part. Cortex part extend in medulla region. So obviously medulla में कुछ part cortex का भी extend हुआ, that is the column of Bertini, renal column, and I'm pretty sure it is clear so far. Then finally, you know what happened? See this diagram nicely, you know. Medullary pyramid also have this needle-like structure which is known as nephron, which is the structural functional unit of the kidney. So they grew some part of nephron present in cortex region and some part present in the medulla region, even some deep in medulla also. तो देख लो यहाँ पर ये medulla है. Nephron we know it will be helping in filtration and formation of urine happen in the nephron, and nephron pour the urine here in the calyx region. So बच्चा ये छोटे छोटे funnel shaped structure known as the minor calyx. तो ये छोटे छोटे funnel shaped structure known as minor calyx. And बहुत सारे minor calyx, many minor calyx will open into the large calyx which is known as major calyx. So minor calyx means funnel shaped structure, or this this cone like structure, this medulla will be opening into these passages. So minor calyx and major calyx. Finally major calyx will open in the space that is known as renal pelvis. So this is actually the renal pelvis which will finally open into ureter, and ureter take the blood out of kidney in the urinary bladder, and finally urinary bladder empty into urethra. Urethra take the urine outside the body. So that it happens this way. So bacha, when we see about the kidney, when we see the kidney ka structure, so we know that kidney have this concave surface here, concave notch here, which is known as hilum. So this concave notch of the kidney is known as hilum, you have to remember. And this notch, this concave notch ke through, what will happen through this concave notch, we know this ureters, blood vessel, nerve supply enter the kidney. So they go renal artery, renal vein, and this ureter will be passing through this region known as hilum. This is the hilum region, concave part of the kidney, concave notch or depression of the kidney, right? Renal pelvis, I have told you, with the projection called calyxes, many calyxes will be opening here. And kidney have the two regions, outer cortex, inner medulla region, I have told you. So can you tell me what is the arrangement of the kidney here? What is the arrangement of different parts? So when we see the kidney, so with the kidney have three covering. Outer one renal fascia, middle adipose, and renal capsule is the inner portion, inner layer of the protective covering of the kidney. Then obviously it is having outer cortex region. Kidney have the outer cortex region or inner wala portion present in the pyramid form, so which is known as medullary pyramid. So obviously this is the medullary pyramid, which is the innermost layer. Then we know that medullary pyramid is the inner portion of kidney which will open into minor calyxes. So calyxes were projection of it, right? Minor calyxes milkar kahan khulengi? They will be opening into major calyxes, or major calyxes will be open into renal pelvis region. That was the renal pelvis region, that was the funnel shaped structure that we have seen, which will take the urine out in the ureter. Ureter is basically taking the urine where? In the urinary bladder. So when we talk about ureter, no, it is the long, distensible means stretchable. Distensible means stretchable tube present paired. So this is the paired structure that we have seen, and it will be taking the urine in the urinary bladder via peristaltic movement, right? This may be peristaltic movement hoga that push the urine in the urinary bladder. So simple. When we talk about urinary bladder, the urinary bladder is the sac-like structure which will open finally in the urethra and temporarily store the urine in it. So when we talk about urinary bladder, तो सिंपल सी बात है कि urinary bladder is the sac-like inverted pear-shaped structure, pyriform structure, right? So median means present in the middle of the body. Median में present है. Median pyriform means pear-shaped है ना बेटा? Pyriform pear-shaped structure that we know very well. Then obviously this wall of the urinary bladder wall has three coats, right? This is something which you have to remember. And what are those three coats? Outer one is the soft connective tissue, मतलब इसकी तीन layers होती है. तो urinary bladder have three wall. One is the made up of connective tissue layer. Middle layer is made up of muscle, so it is having the muscle layer, and inner made up of the transitional epithelium that you have to remember, right? So second made up of muscular layer. Muscular layer है middle layer, which is having the special muscle that is known as detrusor muscle, मतलब distensible stretchable muscle, right? So काफी ज़्यादा stretch हो सकता है. Detrusor muscle is basically highly stretchable, having the stretch receptor also. So when urinary bladder filled with the urine, its a stretch receptor will get the signal that अब तो बेटा it is filled with the urine and send the signal in the brain, that we will see the later part, right? So detrusor muscle is basically pushing the urine down by its contraction, and it is having the stretch receptor also, that will R for receptor. So let me just write down stretch receptor also. So receptor means simple सी बात है, it will be sending signal to the brain that urinary bladder is filled with the urine, and please now give the reflex of the micturition. Now you will be having the feeling of urination, है ना? So that is micturition reflex, है ना? And inner layer is known as made up of the transitional epithelium, or we called it urothelium, right? Transitional epithelium, or also known as urothelium, having connective tissue also. So it is having connective tissue plus these epithelium, innermost layer, transitional urothelium epithelium. That's all, right? So bacha, this is all about the urinary bladder. And when we talk about urethra, तो urethra हमें पता है in case of female it is only present in mammals. सबसे पहली बात तो only present in mammals, that you have to remember, only present in mammals, right? And yes, in male it is longer in size, as you know it very well. So it is longer in size, whereas in female it is short in size, that take the urine outside the body. Isn't it so amazing? Isn't it so amazing, right? So write down in the comment box. So we will be going ahead, and I have told you that cortex part extend in the medullary pyramid region known as column of Bertini or renal column. This region known as renal column. That's all. This is something which you have to remember, right? So now we will be seeing nephron in very detailed way. Ureters I have told you. Urinary bladder I have told you. Urethra I have told you. So obviously at the opening of the urethra we are having internal sphincter. Sphincter is like a door, है ना? तो urethra and urinary bladder में के बीच में there is a sphincter. Internal sphincter is involuntary, not in our control, and external sphincter is voluntary, it is in our control. So obviously we can control it for certain limit, up to certain limit. पर अगर उससे ज्यादा कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करी यूरिन को, तो बेटा इनवॉलंटरी मसल विल ओपन. अगर ज्यादा अमाउंट में वी विल ट्राई टू होल्ड द यूरिन फॉर लॉन्गर टाइम, इनवॉलंटरी स्पिंक्टर विल ओपन, एंड वंस इट विल ओपन नोबडी कैन स्टॉप द वॉलंटरी मसल और वॉलंटरी स्पिंक्टर टू ओपन, और जिसके वजह से यूरिन विल बी डिस्चार्ज्ड. सो मतलब हम कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं यूरिन को, पर अप टू सर्टेन एक्सटेंट. गॉड हैज गिवन अस पावर टू कंट्रोल द यूरिनेशन, मिक्चुरेशन, but up to certain extent, because God knows we are lazy and we can, like, if we allowed to give, if God has allowed us 100% control over it, so we can do the damage to our body, so all the nature is smartly developed, right? So that is something which you have to remember. So kidney ka outer structure we have seen. Even if you see the dimension of the kidney as per our NCERT, so bacha you have to at least remember its length and width and thickness, right? So when we talk about the length of the kidney, it is it is like 12 to 15 centimeter in length. Sorry, 10 to 12 centimeter in length, right? So it is 10 to 12 centimeter in length. 10 to 12 सेंटीमीटर. अब इसका हाफ लगा लो कितना होगा, तो वो उसकी विड्थ हो जाएगी, राइट? So its width is basically 5 to 7 centimeter, which is just half to 10 to 12 centimeter. And when we talk about its thickness, तो thickness is 2 to 3 centimeter, उसका भी half. किसका half? 5 to 7 centimeter, width का half. So obviously it will be, if we see its thickness, so thickness will be 2 to 3 centimeter, मतलब उसका भी half हो जाना है, right? So this is something which you have to remember. And if we see the weight of kidney, so if we see the weight of kidney, so 120 to 170. So these are certain data which you have to remember as given in our NCERT. That's all. We have done all the data of the kidney. And abhi मैंने कहा कि kidney have the cortex and the medulla region having the thread-like or having this needle-like structure known as nephron. So we will be seeing nephron in detailed way. And it is the structural functional unit of kidney that we know. We are having 1 million nephron, which is working hard to keep us cool. Means obviously it is maintaining our body osmolarity, maintaining our waste nitrogenous, releasing nitrogenous waste, acid base balance that we will be seeing. So bacha, all the blue, all the yellow part, can you see all the yellow part? This is the tubular part. So obviously Bowman's capsule, this is the proximal convoluted tubule which open into loop of Henle. So this is the descending loop and this is the ascending loop. Then it will be opening into the distal convoluted tubule DCT, and DCT will open into the collecting duct. And you know what? This is this yellow part is basically where the urine is filtered out and obviously take out to the major calyx by through this collecting duct. So collecting duct open into the minor calyx, right? So calyx I have told you. And this red color part is the branch of the blood vessel. So you know what? We know that each kidney receive blood, carrying blood with urea from the renal artery. So obviously renal artery ki branch, because we are having millions of nephron, so each renal artery divide into millions of afferent arteriole. It's the smallest afferent arteriole, smallest arteries, which will be opening into the glomerulus, which is the tuft of capillaries, branches of capillaries, and which after filtration of the blood, after filtering out urine or filtrate, the filtered blood will be exiting. E for efferent, E for exit. Exiting out here in this particular tube, right? In this particular tubular part, and many things will happen. We will be seeing it, right? Many things will happen with this filtrate. We will be seeing it. So obviously this reddish part is nothing but the part of blood supply which will be carrying the blood to the nephron, and obviously via glomerulus things will filtered out, right? And you know, after filtering, blood will go to the efferent arteriole, and then obviously this efferent arteriole forming the complex small capillaries around the tube, which is known as peritubular capillary. Peri means periphery, around, tubular means tube, and capillaries means capillaries. So why this peritubular capillary is present around the tube? It's the reason behind that. There's the reason behind that. And maximum capillaries basically present around the PCT. Why? We will be seeing because यहाँ पर maximum reabsorption will be happening. So we will be seeing that maximum capillaries branches will be present around the PCT. Even part of peritubular capillaries which is U-shaped and present around the this loop of Henle known as vasa recta. So what is the vasa recta? It is the tube, it is the branch of peritubular capillaries that is present, that is U-shaped, present around the loop of Henle. U-shaped around this is known as vasa recta, part of the peritubular capillaries, right? So let's see each things in detailed way. So what is the nephron? What is nephron composed of? First, it contains Malpighian corpuscles. And what is the Malpighian corpuscle? It is made up of two parts. One, Bowman's capsule. Second, glomerulus. So bacha, can you see this part? This is the glomerulus and this is the Bowman's capsule. These both structured together forming the Malpighian corpuscle. And when we talk about second part, tubule, it comprised of three parts. One is the PCT, second is loop of Henle, and third is the DCT. So it's a part of one nephron. Now you will say ki ma'am, what is the collecting duct then? It is not the part of the one nephron? I will say no. Because collecting inside the collecting duct, many DCT of many nephron will open. So जब बहुत सारे DCT एक ही collecting duct में खुल रहे हैं, तो it cannot be the part of single nephron. It is the part of various nephron which is opening in the single collecting duct. Are you getting it? So that's why collecting duct is not the part of nephron. And what is the part of nephron? These are the part of nephron that you have to remember, right? So total 5 part, 2 part in malphizian tubule and 3 part in tubule, right? So bacha dekho, all the things beautifully written over here. So let's start with the glomerulus part, right? So let's start with the glomerulus part, malphizian body, renal corpuscle part. And it is having this Bowman's capsule and this glomerulus part as we know it. So what is the glomerulus? It is the tuft of capillaries, means branch of capillaries formed by afferent arterioles that we can see in the diagram. And the best thing that if afferent arteriole have the broad diameter, we can see it is having broader diameter, whereas efferent arteriole have the narrow diameter, right? So that you have to remember. Blood from the glomerulus is carried away by efferent arteriole. We know that once the blood is filtered out, once the things are filtered out from the blood will be exiting the glomerulus via efferent arteriole. The efferent arteriole में blood चला जाएगा, right? Now we are having the Bowman's capsule, and we know Bowman's capsule is blind sac. Blind sac-like structure means close at one end, open at other end, right? And Bowman's capsule is basically, structure of the Bowman's capsule. If we see, it is made up of squamous epithelium, and it will be helping in the filtration. How? I will be telling you. So just hold on for some time. Podocyte is nothing but the feet-shaped cell. Podo means feet, cyte means cell. So this podocyte cell is nothing but the what we call modification of the squamous epithelium. So podocyte is nothing but the modification of the squamous epithelium. And how this podocyte is arranged in the Bowman's capsule? So bacha, we know this is the inner wall of the Bowman's capsule, which is having podocyte, modified squamous epithelium, and outer layer is made up of this outer layer of the cell, made up of outer layer of the Bowman's capsule, made up of this what we called made up of simple squamous epithelium, right? So we will be seeing that this inner portion of the Bowman's capsule, podocyte is arranged in such a way that it will be forming the small slit. So whatever things is filtered out through this blood will be coming via slit here in the Bowman's capsule. So bacha, you can see this is the space, capsular space. So बस यहाँ पर अभी इतनी चीज याद रखो that inner part is made up of modified squamous epithelium and outer layer of the Bowman's capsule made up of the simple squamous epithelium, right? So it is the outer layer which is known as parietal layer of the Bowman's capsule, parietal wall of the Bowman's capsule, outer layer of the Bowman's capsule, made up of simple squamous epithelium. And when we talk about inner layer, so inner layer is made up of is known as the visceral layer, made up of podocyte, which is the modified squamous epithelium, right? And what is its purpose? We will be seeing it in very detailed way. And this space is known as capsular space, as simple as that. So this is all about the glomerulus and all. Now we will be seeing the PCT and Henle's loop in detailed way. But whatever point I'm telling you, you will have to see, you have to relate in the physiology part also, right? So we will be physiology part of the kidney also, right? So you have to just revise this part nicely. So when we talk about PCT, so bacha PCT, you can see this is the PCT, Bowman's capsule open into the PCT, right? So let me write down about the PCT. What is the important part of PCT? So when we talk about PCT, no, it is the highly coiled part as we see. Convoluted means highly coiled part, highly coiled. Wherever you see the term convoluted means highly coiled. So PCT के बारे में what you have to remember, it's a lower part of Bowman's capsule as we can see, right? And PCT is the highly coiled. Even I have told you it is surrounded by the peritubular capillaries. You know what is the peritubular capillaries? It's a part of blood supply, है ना? Surrounded by peritubular capillaries. तो बच्चा हम जो है इसको फिजियोलॉजी, अभी आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू स्ट्रक्चर, आई हैव नॉट स्टार्टेड एनी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड पार्ट, राइट? सो यू जस्ट हैव टू रिमेंबर द स्ट्रक्चर एज ऑफ नाउ, राइट? सो सराउंडेड बाय द पेरिटिब्यूलर blood capillaries, peritubular blood capillaries. And when we talk about PCT, so obviously we know that PCT present in the cortex region of the kidney. So bacha remember that this Bowman's capsule, this PCT, DCT present in the cortex region. This is the cortex region, and obviously medulla and half portion of the collecting duct present in the medulla region. Loop of Henle and this collecting duct ka half part present in the medulla region, right? So obviously it is having the rich supply of the peritubular capillaries, and it is present in the cortex region as we have seen. So P for present in cortex region of the kidney. And one important question they will be asking from PCT, that it is lined by the tube is inner side of the tube is lined by brush border cuboidal epithelium, right? Brush border means they are having microvilli. Brush border cuboidal epithelium. Have you got it? And what is the brush border means? They are having the finger-like projection. So this is the cell having the finger-like projection. Why they are having finger-like projection? So we know they are having microvilli. And microvilli is nothing, little finger-like projection. And what is their purpose? Increase surface area for absorption. Increase surface area for absorption, right? So this is all about, so bacha I'm just telling you structure so far, and physiology we will be doing in the next class, right? So whatever I have told you so far, you have to remember it. So obviously we have done PCT. I have told you about PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, and now obviously you have to remember that PCT may there are many things happening, right? There is absorption happening, secretion happening. What is it? I will be telling you in detail way, right? So obviously it is having more mitochondria, Why? Because it requires various amount of energy. It requires high amount of energy, because high energy required for urine formation, right? Required for urine formation, and urine formation involve reabsorption, that we will be seeing. So important part is reabsorption and secretion. What is it? I will be telling you both the things in detail way in physiology part. So अभी सिर्फ इतना याद रखना है कि PCT have the brush border cuboidal epithelium, right? Now if we see the loop of Henle, so बच्चा loop of Henle we know it's U-shaped cell, hairpin like loop-like structure. So hairpin loop-like structure, that's why we called it loop of Henle, right? Loop-like tubular part, as simple as that. And it is basically lined by squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium है इसमें भी, lined by squamous epithelium, as simple as that. And you have to remember these, lining of the cell. ये बहुत important है यहाँ पे. And next obviously यहाँ पर it is having two part, ascending limb and descending limb. And बच्चा दोनों के बारे में बस एक चीज याद रखना, that we will be seeing in detail way ahead. इसका पर्पस हम आगे क्लास में देखेंगे, बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. So ascending limb basically solute permeable and water impermeable. Solute मतलब obviously salt, ना, permeable. Permeable for the salt but impermeable for the water. Got you? हाँ जी, समझे? So write down in the comment box, have you got it? सो परमिएबल लेकिन वाटर impermeable है. And this information we will be using in the next class. If you don't remember this, so you will not be able to relate it, right? It is water permeable means water will be allowed to move, water permeable but almost impermeable for solute. Simple, this is water permeable and ascending limb is water impermeable, as simple as that. So what is the purpose of this, ascending limb? Help in osmoregulation. Help in osmoregulation means maintenance of osmolarity. How? We will be seeing in the physiology part. अभी तक हमने सिर्फ और सिर्फ इसका ये वाला स्ट्रक्चरल पार्ट करा है. वी हैव जस्ट डन द एनाटॉमी पार्ट, राइट? एंड यू विल बी लेबलिंग एवरीथिंग इन your diagram so that 3-4 pages concise in one diagram, right? So that's why I have written all the points separately in these particular category, right? Distal convoluted means highly coiled part which is present later in the nephron. So obviously this is Bowman's capsule, PCT, loop of Henle, and this is DCT, right? So obviously when we talk about DCT, lined by simple cuboidal epithelium, simple cuboidal epithelium, and you have to remember this point. And बच्चा याद रखना that it is also present in the cortex region, whereas the loop of Henle, where does it present? It is present in medulla region, that we know, right? I have shown you in the diagram also. It is present in medulla, whereas DCT present in cortex region, as you can see in the diagram. So this is the cortex part and this is the medulla part. And collecting duct present in both region, medulla as well as cortex. So TCT का काम क्या है? Obviously, and हाँ, if we see the structure literally ना, तो actually it's like this. तो बच्चा ये देखो, ये है this Bowman's capsule. This is the capillaries. This is PCT, loop of Henle, and this is DCT. Right? So means DCT present near the malphizian corpuscle, and malphizian corpuscle made up of Bowman's capsule plus this afferent, this glomerulus, right? So remember, and this is so important point. Why? Because I will be telling you most important point ahead related this, and iska function we will be seeing in the physiology part. Closely associated, close to the malphizian tubule, right? So it is close to malphizian tubule. Close to malphizian tubule, as simple as that. Malphizian tubule. Simple, right? And bacha, yes, this is something which you have to remember. Malphizian body, present near the malphizian body or renal corpuscle. Malphizian body or renal corpuscle. What is the purpose? I will be telling you, right? And finally, the last part that you have to know is the collecting duct. So when we talk about collecting duct, I have told you it is present in medulla as well as in the cortex region, right? Medulla and cortex region, दोनों में है, plus cortex region. So some part in the medulla, some part in the cortex region, as simple as that. And obviously we know that collecting duct open into the minor calyx. So obviously it will be open in minor calyx. Minor calyx will be open into the major calyxes. Major calyxes will be open into the renal pelvises, right? So ये major calyx में खुलेगा, which will be taking urine out. Renal pelvises open into the ureters, that we know. So this is simple portion that you have to remember. When we talk about this collecting duct, ये सारी चीजें आपको याद रखनी है, that's all. और I have told you that बहुत सारे many DCTs, many distal convoluted tubule of various nephron will open in it. Various nephron will open it. Will open into it. That's all. Simple. So this is all about the collecting duct that you have to remember. And when we talk about the vasa recta, I have told you it's a branch of the peritubular capillaries, right? So it's a branch of peritubular capillary, U-shaped branch of peritubular capillaries. And what is its purpose? So obviously it will be present U-shaped around the peritubular capillary branch of peritubular capillaries around loop of Henle. What is its purpose? We will be seeing in the physiology part. Why it is present around the loop of Henle? We will be seeing it in the like in this part, right? Which we called what we called this physiology part. And finally, this peritubular capillary is open into the renal vein, and renal vein will be taking, having the least urea. As I have told, it will be having least urea, which will be opening in the vena cava. Vena cava again take blood to the heart again oxygenated the blood and pumping it to the body part, and in this way urea is excrete out by the kidney time and again, bar excrete out karega. And we will be seeing all the things in the physiology part, right? But in our body, two type of nephron is there. So 70 to 80% nephron are cortical nephron, 20 to 30% are juxtamedullary nephron. What is the difference? इसके केस में cortical nephron, actually if we see, this is the cortex region, medulla region. In cortical nephron, maximum part is basically, loop of Henle is very short and maximum part present in the cortex region. So it is found, most of the part found in the cortex region, not in medulla. Medulla में बहुत short होता है, short loop of Henle is there. And obviously, because loop of Henle is a short, so they are having the less developed or reduced, they are having reduced or absence of the vasa recta. Reduce or absence of vasa recta. So this is something which you have to remember, right? Next, when we talk about juxtamedullary nephron, it is found in the cortex as well as in medulla, but its loop of Henle is so long. Its loop of Henle is so well developed, is so well developed that it is basically, this what we call it's very deep in medulla, right? So loop of Henle is so long and deep in medulla, and iska vasa recta also well developed. Vasa recta is blood vessel, part of peritubular capillaries, right? So vasa recta is well developed here, and it will be helping to form the concentrated urine. Juxtamedullary nephron come here, but will be helping in formation of concentrated urine, that you have to remember, right? That's all. This is all about this chapter. And these are NEET previous year question, which is not the part of renal pyramid. Pyramid means medulla, medullary pyramid, right? Which is not present here, and you know very well. So you will be solving these questions, writing down answers here or in the Telegram channel, Telegram link, obviously, that I have shared with you. Uric acid is the excretory waste. You know it very well. Some animal prefer uricotelism over ureotelism. You know it very well. Why? Because मैंने कहा था uricotelism का क्या फायदा है and ureotelism का क्या फायदा है. I have told it very well, right? So बच्चा, I'm pretty sure you have got all the things. So write down in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends. Have a great day. See you all. और write down कि क्या क्या करना है. वैसे मैं सोचती हूँ सारा 1-2 short video में हम most important chapter complete करने वाले हैं, right? So it will giving you so much help. And in case you want to solve question, you can ask me, right? So I'll be sharing some questions with you. You will be solving it. And in case you find any doubt, you can share it with me. Bye bye, bacha. Have a great day. So see you all. Bye bye.